Hey there, it's Director Grace. Welcome to New Consultant Training video number 4. I'm excited to tell you that we'll be covering a lot of information in this training segment, including image and attitude, money management. And I will tell you that image and attitude and money management are two really large tasks, but we're gonna knock them out, and I know that we're gonna do a great job with it. So let's start with image and attitude. You know, when I joined Mary Kay, I didn't know a lot about professional image, nor did I understand the importance of it. I worked in dentistry. I worked in some surgical practices. And so what was interesting is that I would wear scrubs during the day and jeans on the weekend. And I had a dress for church, and that was about it. And so I didn't really, I hadn't been taught. And I didn't know what professional image would really look like. And so I don't ever take it for granted that the people coming into my unit know about professional image. So I just want to let you know what it looks like. And one of the best kind of tidbits of information, or best advice I should say, that I ever got is that we should dress for the position that we want. And when I came to Mary Kay, I wanted people to know that I was taking it seriously. And in that vein, let's talk about what professional image is. I want to show you this picture. Look at these two women who looks like they might be going to church or a, kind of more casual function. I think most of us would agree the lady in the pink, right? Who looks like she owns and runs a company. I think we'd all agree, the lady in the beige, right? Who looks thinner? Lady in the pink? It's the lady in the beige. She looks like she's more svelte. Who looks like the person that you would want to sign as a Mary Kay consultant with? Most people are going to say her because she looks professional. She looks confident. Her posture is different. She holds herself differently. And the truth is that these are the same women. Makeup and clothing make a difference. Hear me clearly. The truth is that within 7 seconds, people make a decision about you. They form an opinion about you. I'm not saying that's right, but I am saying that's how it is. That's the truth. That's what people do. They make split decisions. And so if that's what they're going to do, most of the time we haven't even opened our mouth. We've not spoken. Let's give them a good first impression of us based on how we carry ourselves and our physical appearance. So a couple of things, just head to toe image that we can point out between the difference in these two women. Let's look at hair. I'm not saying you have to cut your hair. You can wear your hair long, that's fine. The difference with the hair is that one of them looks manicured and finished and the other does not. If you have long hair, as long as it's done, that's all that really matters. If you haven't had a compliment on your hair in the last couple months, it might be time for a new style. And here's the real reason. It's not about so much what other people think. It's about how you feel about yourself. When you walk out of the salon with a new do, you feel confident, right? That's what we want. It's about how you feel about yourself. That's the key. Professional image is great hair. The next thing too is a full face of Mary Kay makeup. It doesn't look very authentic if you're wearing, brand X and selling Mary Kay. You need to be wearing the product, and you should be wearing it daily. And you should be wearing it like you're all of it. Because if I'm wearing a lipstick color and a woman at the grocery store notices it and says, "Oh my gosh, I love your lipstick," and I have to say, "Oh, it's brand whatever," I've just lost an opportunity to make a connection. So wearing a full Mary Kay face. Okay. Now here's the thing. I'm not wearing a suit all the time. Sometimes I have on jeans and a t-shirt. I'm running around the park with my kids, but I still have makeup on. I still have a finished look. My hair is still done. You won't see me look like I rolled out of bed and I'm running around Target. I have my face on. I look like I'm a business owner, even in jeans and a t-shirt, okay? And so that's part of our image as a Mary Kay consultant. Attire, okay, let's talk about attire for a minute. you know, the truth is that in Mary Kay, our founder, she only asked us two things. She asked us to pass it on so that her company would continue. And she did also ask us to continue to wear a skirt or a dress to Mary Kay functions. Now, I do not run around at the gym in a skirt. I don't wear a skirt to, you know, take my kids to a baseball game. I have on jeans and a t-shirt then. But when it comes to Mary Kay events, you know, we do wear a skirt or a dress. That's not Mary Kay trying to make your life hard. That was the fact that women in a suit, and a skirted suit at that, present the image of a lady in business, and actually pants on a woman give off a sexual connotation. So people think it's about showing legs. It's not. But we do wear a skirt or a dress to Mary Kay functions. That would be meetings and events. And, you know, when it comes to what you wear, I always say if you can find a great pencil skirt and a jacket, you can just put a bunch of different tops with that and you're set. Just a skirt and a jacket that look really great together like this. And it can be like your Mary Kay uniform. None of this has to cost $1 million. You don't have to spend $800 on your hair. You don't have to, you know, buy a St. John's suit. You can go to a wonderful, you know, thrift store even and find a great skirt and jacket, and make it's just got to be something that you feel great about yourself in. One other thing you have to remember, we're selling to women, and we're selling, you know, a very authentic and integratable business. So should not be cleavage showing. I'm kind of busty. You'll notice I wear a tank a lot. Cleavage is not the image that says I'm owning a business and want to be taken seriously. The other thing that I will tell you is that skirts should be maybe about an inch and a half over the knee. Doesn't need to be too much shorter than that, because again, we're selling to women, we're selling them authentic, you know, high standard business. Also too, one thing I always tease people, armpit is never business professional. So, you know, if you have a little short sleeve shirt, just put a jacket or a cardigan over it and it dresses it up really easily. Armpits just aren't pretty. And then last but not least, if you don't have really, you know, like my legs are super white, I wear pantyhose because of that. But you can also do well lotioned shaved legs, and that's very business appropriate. And then with shoes, nothing too sandally. A good pair of pumps will take you a long way in looking like a business professional. And again, it's not about impressing other people as much as it is feeling good about yourself, presenting your best version of yourself. And I remember, you know, my family wasn't real thrilled about me doing this in the beginning. And I remember my first party afterwards, it was my little brother's prom, and I went to see him and his day off. And I remember, you know, they were kind of teasing me, my family, about, you know, oh, look at you, you know, because they'd not seen me in makeup and my hair was all done, you know, and I had makeup. But you know what, at the end of it, I remember they did say to me, they were like, wow, you're really serious about this, aren't you? And that was enough. That was enough, because I looked the part. They knew that I was serious about this, and that's what I really wanted. And I felt good enough about myself. I put my shoulders back and I said, I'll do something great with this. And I have. You will, from time to time, hear dressy casual attire in Mary Kay. Dressy casual, if you hear me say that, means that you can wear slacks, capris, that kind of thing, but no jeans. You won't, I think once in a while I'll do an event with jeans, and that's usually a family event or something like that. But not for Mary Kay appropriate attire. Let me also tell you that our conduct as business owners is held to a much higher standard. I want people to take me seriously. Well, I have to take myself seriously. And a couple of standards of conduct that we strive to achieve in my unit are being very positive. Nobody wants a negative Nelly. And we all know that person that every time they speak, you just want to go, wah, 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 after everything they say. It's not that life doesn't happen. I'm not talking about being a Pollyanna here. I'm talking about focusing on the things that are good in the world and being a positive person. And when you're positive, it pulls people towards you. And when you're not, it pushes people away. And when you're building a business, and frankly, I just in life think we want to draw people to us. We also want to be kind, you know, in a world where we can be anything, be kind. And that means sometimes even when things aren't going well, when you go to the grocery store and they don't have what you need, when you order your meal and then they don't get it right, you don't yell and scream at the waitress or the server. You let them know very nicely that there's an issue and then you address it. But you don't have to be mean, and you don't have to be more than kind. And then I would say customer service orientated. Our job, customer is always right, okay? Even when they're not, they are. And so you have to like recognize that as a business owner, the customer is always right, and we're gonna be positive and kind, and we're gonna get the situation handled. A couple of behaviors that would be unbecoming of a business owner, cussing. Where I'm from, it's a noun, a verb, an adjective, and you get extra points for creative combinations, but it's not appropriate when you're a business owner. People find it to be offensive, and it makes us sound uneducated, and neither of those is preferable, so we will not be cussing a lot. Smack talking other people, businesses, or products. I always heard a great quote. I heard this great quote that said that there are two ways to build the biggest empire. You can work really, really hard and build it brick by brick until it's the biggest one. Or you can burn down everybody else's, which automatically makes you the biggest. And I'll tell you what, I just decided that when you throw dirt, you lose ground. So I don't care what you've heard about another product or another company, you're not going to hear us putting it down. I remember several years ago, one of our, a competing brand, they went bankrupt. And I remember, there were a lot of women consultants with that company, that had hopes and dreams too. And one of a gal I went to high school with, I knew she was with them, and I just sent her a note and said, I wanted you to know, I was really sorry to hear that happened. And I wish you the best of luck in the future. And she sent me a note back, and she's like, I was surprised. I thought you'd be thrilled. And I'm like, thrilled that you're hurting? No. I'm never going to revel in somebody else's misfortune. I'm not going to put down another company. That's not how we have the best. We have the best because we have the best, because we're honorable and integrable and we work. And that's enough. You won't hear us talking bad about another consultant in our unit or any other unit, about another director. We just don't. One weird one, chomping gum. It seems like a small thing, and there's nothing wrong with having a mint or a piece of gum, but when you're chomping on it, again, not professional conduct. Social media, now more than ever before, as a business owner, we need to be very cognizant of what we put out into the world. And when you become a business owner, the things that you put on Facebook, hiring companies look at your social media account to determine whether or not you're a good hire. People are going to do the same thing when you're a business owner. It's not that I don't have opinions. It's not that I don't go out and have fun, but I am cautious about what I post. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm a business owner, and people want to do business with people they trust. And that means that, you know what, in my social media page, it's not all Mary Kay all the time. I have a separate Facebook group for my customers. I have a separate Facebook group for my team. And those are the places where I talk about Mary Kay. And on my personal Facebook page, every once in a while I'll post something about my work, but most of the time it's my family. It's stuff that I'm doing, things that are important to me. But you won't see me cussing. You won't see pictures of me being irresponsible with my behavior, and you won't see social media rants from me. And that is the mark of a business owner that has, a business that they're representing with authenticity and integrity. And last but not least, smoking. Not going to tell you should or shouldn't smoke. That's not for me to determine. But what I will tell you is that a lot of people will not do business with you if their product smells like smoke. So my suggestion to you is that if you do like to smoke, I would make certain that it was that my product was not anywhere near that, and that if you smoke in your car, you make other arrangements to deliver product, because if product smells like smoke, people are not going to do business with that. Meeting etiquette, I just want to remind you to, meetings, show up on time, show up dressed and prepared. If you're bringing guests, make sure you register them for, on the Google Doc on our UnitNet website so that your director knows that she's attending. Be prepared for meetings with the things that, the notepad, the pen, if it's a guest event, things that your guests will need. And you can find a list of that on the UnitNet website under the event icon. Another thing is at the meetings, you want to be positive. Everybody has stuff. When you're walking in the door, shrug that stuff off your shoulders and come in prepared to be lifted up and to receive all there is to offer. Don't allow what happened in your day to taint what you could get from the meeting. Don't talk while other people are talking. If your director's training, make sure that you're, being responsible and respectful of that. And cell phones should be turned off at the meeting. Being respectful to the director and showing her, respect for creating that meeting space would be awesome. And last but not least, it doesn't matter how great you look. It doesn't matter how great you act if your attitude is crummy and you don't treat people well. So again, kindness, and let's talk about attitude. Abraham Lincoln said that attitude is like bathing. It doesn't last. A good attitude doesn't last, which is why we suggest working on it daily, just like bathing. And there are things that will determine the kind of attitude you have. I remember there was somebody said your attitude is the aroma of your heart. And we can't pretend like everything's okay if it's not okay. And so, if you're having a really bad day, just take a minute, take some deep breaths, and let's talk about some things that would work on your attitude. And I will tell you, it's not always because you're having a bad day. I think adding good things to your attitude always is helpful. So every day, you will become like the 5 people you spend the most time around. And sometimes we can control that, and sometimes we can't. Some of us are related to grouchy people. I'm not telling you can't hang out with them. I'm telling you, maybe you need to look at how much you hang out with them. It's calling up when you're down. It's when you get frustrated or you're stressed out, you don't call another consultant who isn't trained to help you or that might be having a bad day too, so you wallow in it together. You call your sales director who's been where you are and who can help you get to where you want to go. Feed yourself good things, books, mentorship with a sales director, podcasts, TED Talks. I have a whole slew of awesome leadership books that just fill you up with great ideas and different ways of thinking about life. And let me tell you, it can totally change your attitude. So again, hang out with positive, happy, healthy people, which is one of the most important reasons that we have the success meetings. They're positive, they're uplifting, they're excited. Hang out with those great people. Call up when you're down. Feed yourself good stuff. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched it in over a decade. Somewhere somebody is being hurt, somewhere there's a fire or a natural disaster, somewhere there is a war, and I can't change any of it. And when I watched it, I found that I felt like heavy. And instead, I read something really positive, a great leadership book, and I go out and I make an impact in the world. And that suited me better. The last thing I want to talk about with regards to image and attitude and conduct, I want to talk about the cycles of emotion. The cycle of emotion is a very real experience that happens anytime we do something new, okay? Anytime we do something new. Think about the first time you went out on a date with somebody that you are with now, or think about, when you started your business. We start up here. And this is the decision point where we start the business, we go on the date, we go after the job, okay? And what are the emotions that we feel then? Probably some excitement, maybe a little nervous, but mostly we are hopeful, okay? We are hopeful. So excited, nervous, hopeful, okay? What happens next? Usually we have a couple wins. The people at the new job are really nice. You like a couple of your coworkers. You know, you do your business debut and it goes awesome and you sell $300 in product and book 4 parties. You go out on the first date and you spend 3 hours talking over dinner because you have so much in common. You have some victories, some little wins, and you have a couple of those, and it breeds confidence and it breeds more excitement. It breeds more excitement, okay? Then this happens, and this is an obstacle. We have our first disappointment. We have our first no-show. Okay, we have our first no-show. She said she'd be a guest at the event. She doesn't show up. She's supposed to hold a party. Doesn't hold. He said he'd call you the next day after your first date. He didn't. Okay, we start to have disappointment. We start to have some obstacles. And what starts happening to our attitude with each of these little dings? We start to get frustrated. We start to get disappointed. We start to get discouraged. We start to doubt. And it goes on, and we start exhibiting something called stress behavior. And stress behavior looks different for each of us. Some people start to make excuses. Well, you know what? He's probably just super busy. Or they make excuses for themselves. I don't really need this Mary Kay thing. I have another job. They start to isolate. I'm just going to stay home tonight. I don't really want to drive across the bridge to get to the meeting. I didn't have that great time at, the last meeting. I didn't learn very much, so I'm just going to stay home. I didn't have that great of a week in sales, so I'm not going to go because I'm not even going to get any prizes or recognition. And that stress behavior perpetuates the discouragement and the doubt and the frustration because it gives you no chance. It leads to no more initiative, effort to create a win. And pretty soon we find ourselves right here, which is a decision point. Okay, decision point. We're in this place of frustration and stress and discouragement, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, sometimes we're angry and sometimes we take it out and we look to point blame. If I had a better director, if I knew more people, if I didn't have 3 kids, if I didn't have, and we start creating all of this stuff, and we reach this point now, and it's a decision point. And it seems silly, but the decision is this: who do you call? Because we all have that person that we can call. We all have that person that we can call that will tell us what we want to hear. I could call my grandmother right now and she would say the same thing to me. If I called her and said, Mom or Grandma, I have a really bad day today in the business, and I'm really frustrated, and this lady stood me up, and she would say without a doubt, baby, I love you. I don't understand why you do that. I don't understand why you work. Your husband has a good job. Okay? I love my grandmother. She's the greatest lady on the planet. And if I had questions about rearing children, she's the first person I would call. But she's not held a job. She's never run a business, and she doesn't even drive a car, and she never has. Why am I asking her about business? She's not been where I am. She cannot help me get where I want to go, and she does not understand the life situation that I have that encourages me to work because I'm passionate about it, because I love it, because I want a future for my family that is important to me. She does not understand those things, and she can't help me get to somewhere different. So instead, when I get down, I call my director, Jeannie Martin, a woman who's been where I've been, who's been in frustrating moments, who's worked her way through them, who has the wisdom of being where I want to be. And she says, okay, Grace, let's talk about what we can learn. Okay, did you do this? Yeah? Well, did you do that? Oh, I forgot to do that part. Okay, so we can do that different. And what did we learn from this? Well, I learned I got to book more parties because some of them aren't going to hold. Okay, and I can move forward and I can learn from that. And she can help me get to a new place. And what happens is I start making efforts again. And I start having wins again. And I start to build the confidence again. And I start to get excited again. And I start to hope again. And I reach this point right here, which is recommitted. Recommitment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the cycle of emotions. This happens anytime we do something new. And I promise you that if you are successful in life, you'll go through this a lot. Because that's what it is to do new things and to try new things and to put yourself out there and to go to new levels. And here's the cool thing. The more that you do this, the stronger you get. Give me a recommitted woman over a committed woman any day. Anybody can be excited when it's easy or when it's new. But when it's been hard and you're still in there swinging, yeah, that's somebody that's got some grit. The other thing too is that you start going through it faster. Like I'm at the point now where I don't really even have time for a pity party because I don't have time to redo my makeup. I am pretty strong. And so when something doesn't go my way and I'm feeling frustrated or I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling disappointed or discouraged, I know what I have to do. And what I do is I call my director, Jeannie Martin. Jeannie, this is what happened. Help me work through this. And I don't just call to complain and I don't just call to vent. I might vent for a minute, but I'm always calling ready for a solution. And the more that you go through this, the faster it gets and the better you get and the stronger you get. And this is all completely normal. And so when you find yourself in these moments where you're having the victory, I want you to like bottle that and think to yourself like, okay, I'm going to keep this for a day when it feels hard. And when it gets hard, I'm not going to try and do it alone. I'm going to call. And the person's number I hope you call, it's me, because I can help. Okay? So that's the cycle of emotion, and definitely part of having a good attitude is knowing that you're not in this by yourself and that this is a cycle and that you can work through it and be extremely effective with it, or you can allow it to rob you of your opportunities for the future because it feels hard in the moment, and we're not going to make that choice. So, we're going to switch gears and talk about money management, and I'm going to tell you straight up that I am very notorious about being money conscious, and that doesn't mean cheap or money minded or like I'm not a money monger. That's not it. I'm very security driven. I love when people say to me, you know, Grace, money doesn't buy happiness. Yeah, neither does being broke. And I have lived without money, and I can tell you that it's hard, and I can also tell you that it's scary. And so I am very much about having more than enough for what we need because I don't want to be afraid like that. So one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about is how to run money for a business, because as a business owner, we're held to a higher standard of record keeping. And the beautiful thing is that when used correctly, your business can be a beautiful shelter for taxes, and it can also be a money-making endeavor for you. And so I just want to kind of talk to you for just a second about how I do tax prep. Okay, I want to talk about how I do tax prep. And the first thing that I can tell you is that the way that I organize my taxes, I actually have a binder thing. It looks like this. It's got the accordion on the side. This is not one of my tax folders, clearly. It's for my skincare class training. But one of the things that I can tell you is that it usually would say tax year 2017 or tax year 2004 or whatever year it is. I have one of these for each of the years of my business. And inside, the front pocket is for receipts. And then there is a pocket, one for every month of the tax year, January through December. And so I'm going to tell you how I organize my tax materials, and then I'm going to walk you through how I manage my money, okay? Now, this helps me not forget anything. Okay, so there are four things that you keep on a monthly basis. That means they get filed in the folder or in the little pocket for the month in which the expense occurred, okay? And I don't mean expense, but for the month in which, yeah, the expense occurred, okay? So the first thing that we use, that we file according to the month, are product invoices. Product invoices. That would be, they come in every order that you get from Mary Kay. There was even one in your starter kit. It tells you every single, item that was in that shipment, both section 1, which is the product that we sell to the client, and section 2, which would be samples. So it keeps a running list. And in our office, because I sell a lot of products, we usually order twice a month. So those invoices get clipped together the first of the month to the 31st of the month. So our first invoices go on top, and then the last ones on the bottom. That way they're in chronological order. So product invoices, that's number 1. The second one is sales tickets. So after I've sold product to my customers, I have given them the top, or I've given them the middle copy rather of the sales ticket. Well, I've still got this part. And there's gonna be another video that you're gonna watch what my systems are after a party, so you'll kind of see that. But once I've received payment and the customer has the product and the whole transaction is done, then these get clipped together. And because I am from Central Southern Illinois, we use for everything clothespins. So we have these in the month, and they all get kind of clothespin together until the very end of the month, and they're in order. So it would be the first of the month through the 31st of the month, so that they're in order, top to bottom. And once the month is over and I have them all in there, then they get kind of stapled together, and they get filed in the month. So like if I sold this in May, they'll get put in the May sales tickets, because now I have a list. I have all of the product that I've sold for that month. The third thing that gets put in there it's a hard copy of our weekly accomplishment sheets. There's an entire video that is designated to weekly accomplishment sheets. And so I highly recommend watching that, weekly accomplishment sheets. You're going to want to print off a hard copy once you've entered your sales tickets into it. That is what helps track all of our sales for the week, for the month, for the year. And I will tell you, if you do it as you go, it makes life so much easier. And you'll see more about the weekly accomplishment sheets in the next video. And then the fourth thing is, let's see, product invoices, sales tickets. Which one am I missing? Oh, you'll want to print off a report on Mary Kay InTouch of commissions. And what that means is that when you build a team and you have team members, the company will be paying you commission. And so you want to print off that report so that you have a record of the commissions that you were paid. And all 4 of these things get filed in the month in which they occurred. Now, the 5th thing that we are going to track is receipts. And receipts are kept by category, okay? And that means, in Mary Kay, we have several different categories. One of them would be postage. So I've moved 3 times for my husband's job. And so I have clients in a lot of different locations, and I ship to them. And so I get to write off my postage as a deduction on my taxes. And so in my front pocket of my tax filer, you could find a big clothespin full of receipts from the post office for product that we've shipped to customers. Another one is equipment. Equipment, it would be like I had to buy a new filing cabinet this year. That's equipment. I also had, I had to update my phone this year. My other one was like dying. So I can write off I can depreciate my phone. So equipment would be something like that. Another great one is marketing expenses. You know, a lot of us choose to do a booth or an expo or put out a facial box, and you know, there are charges for that. Like there, you know, I buy a gift certificate for the fishbowl, or I pay to be at the booth of the expo. I can write that off. Those are business expenses, and so I take the contracts and use those as a receipt. And then another one is travel and events, okay? Travel and events is another one. So if you go to, let's say you go to seminar, you would have a plane ticket, you would have meals, you would have a hotel, you would have your registration. Those are all tax deductible. And I wanna be very clear, I am not a licensed accountant. I can't answer your tax questions. I can only tell you how I organize my tax materials, and I can only tell you what I've done as my experience as a business owner, but I can't give advice. So I always tell the girls, you can't call me at tax time because I can't help you. Legally, I can't. I'm not educated in that, so I don't want to lead you in the wrong way. The other place that I always do keep receipts are business supplies, and that could be anything from hair ties, cotton pads, Q-tips, sponges, ink toner for my printer. I'm trying to think of other things that we even use. Like if you need, you know, copy paper, those things, those can all, because they're being used for your business, those can be deductions. Now, a couple more things that you will want to track. Demonstration product. So you got in your starter kit a miracle set, right? To show customers. Well, you're going to do a lot of faces, so some of that stuff's going to run out. Instead of buying samples of all of that, you're going to want to take one of those cleansers off your shelf, and you're going to want to take it and put it in your starter kit once it runs out, right? So I just created a sales ticket, and it says up here in big letters, demo. And I just add to it every time I take a product off my shelf to put in my starter kit to show customers. And at the end, and it actually stays at the front of my tax filer. And I'll just start a new ticket and staple them together at the end of the year. And we'll get to write those off because those are all used for the business. My personal products, the way that works is that I take the product off my shelf to use for myself. Now here's the deal. I've taken that product off my shelf. So now when a customer wants it, it's not there. And if I don't put money away for it so that I can reorder it so that the customer can have it, now I've embezzled from my business, and we don't want to do that. So what I do is I write myself a sales ticket, okay? And then once I write myself a sales ticket, I only pay wholesale because that's the perk of being a consultant. So I take 50% off, and I write a check from my personal account to my business account to cover the cost of the product that I purchased. So I pay wholesale. And that way I can place my order to replace those items, but I'm still getting my stuff at a discount. Does that make sense? I hope so. Now, the final thing is mileage. Mileage is a beautiful tax option that we have in Mary Kay. You know, there are people that are like, well, you can write off, oil changes, and you can write off, repairs on the car and stuff. And I will tell you that I never see it pay out as well as just writing off straight mileage. So that would be something that I, as a business owner, have chosen to do, is to do the mileage versus trying to track all the fuel and everything like that. Again, I've never seen it pay out. So with mileage, I just keep a little notepad, a little notebook in my car, and every time I leave, I write down my mileage. And I write next to it where I'm going that's related to my business. I keep track of my business miles and that. And what happens is then when I come home, I write my finished mileage down. And at the end of the year, I go through and I add up all those miles that I drove. And I will tell you that has been a lifesaver for us. And so it's not just when I'm going to hold parties. It's when we're going to meetings, when we're going to events, when I'm picking up things for the business, when I go to the bank for the business, when I go to the post office for the business. All of those things I can deduct those miles there. So I just want you to be aware that it is wise to track that mileage, okay? Now, I want to show you how I do my money tracking because I think that this is super important. And so I will just tell you that you do not have to do it this way. I'm going to show you how I do it. And I will tell you that if you do it this way, I can help you. If you do it another way, I probably can't help you. And I will tell you that there are really smart reasons that I do it this way. So it's completely up to you. Okay. So the first thing that I will show you is I'm drawing a picture here. My artistic rendering. This is Grace's money bag. Okay. This is Grace's money bag and Mary Kay. Okay. I attached to it a checking account, which has a savings account attached to it. I hope that makes sense. So I open a checking account with a savings account attached to it. I do not do these. I don't get expensive accounts. I don't get business accounts. I'll be honest, at my bank, I've never found one that had any incentives that were actually beneficial to me. They were more beneficial to the bank. And so I just do a personal checking. I get the free ones and I get the free checks. I don't get pretty checks. It doesn't matter because the people you're going to be writing a check to are you, or maybe me if I'm helping you register for an event. And you can't recruit either of us because we're already consultants. Okay. So it doesn't need to be pretty. Okay. And so I have this account, and you never put Mary Kay Cosmetics in the account name, because when you do that, it makes the Internal Revenue Service think that Mary Kay Corporate has an account, and that is not it. So I call this one the checking account. Okay, the checking account, I call it my pink account, and the savings account is my green account. Okay, so checking, savings. And this is how I do it. Okay. When I get to, I do my money every 2 weeks. I do it on Friday because it's fun to get paid on Friday. And so what I can tell you is that in my process, the first thing I do, number one, is I deposit all sales. I deposit all sales into this pink account. This account, incidentally, is the one that is attached to ProPay. So I open ProPay via the Mary Kay In Touch website so that I can accept credit cards. And this is the account that I link to that ProPay account. And here's the thing, two things. Number one, you have to keep your business money separate from your personal money. You cannot try to be funneling things. Like, you will spend money not even realizing you ever had it when you try to dump it in and keep it separate. So I'm going to really strongly suggest that you have a separate, like I said, you set up these accounts separate for your business, okay? Or it's not really accounts, account, okay? Now, the second thing that I can also tell you is that the ProPay is such a wise investment. Again, you can deduct the annual fee, which is very minimal, so that you can accept cards. And what's great is that most people don't even carry cash anymore. They use debit or credit card. So people will spend on average 30% more when they're using a debit or a credit card. So it's wise to have ProPay. And what ProPay does is it takes the money off of their card, puts it into the ProPay account that you have, and then you move it from ProPay into your account. So there's never a direct link between your information and theirs. So it helps save you from, fraud and theft and all that crazy stuff that people do. So I deposit all of my sales into this pink account. And we're going to use $1,000 as our number. We're going to say that in the last 2 weeks I've sold $1,000 because I'm not a math major. So I would have $1,000 plus tax and shipping, or not tax and shipping, plus tax in this account right now. Okay. Now the second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer 40% into the green account. So that would be $400. Okay. So I have transferred from the 1,000, 40% into the green account. And the reason I do that is because I always paid myself first. I'm doing this because I want to add income to our family. I sold $1,000, $400 of it is mine to keep. Now, some people say, why not 50%? Well, because there's always going to be expenses. And so I take 10% out and keep it in here so that for samples and tax and shipping, all of that is self-contained then in here. And I'm not taking personal monies to pay for those things. Okay, so $400 is my profit. The third thing that happens is that I use a debit card from my pink account. So when I get that checking account, I get a debit card with it. Okay, I get a debit card. And so I take that debit card and I place an order. And I make you use the debit card because you can't order a bunch of extra stuff if the money's not there, okay? So you've got a debit card in this pink account and you just used it to place an order. Now $400 is already out of there, so there's only $600 left. And if you sold $1,000 in product, there's $500 wholesale dollars in product that need to either be replaced to your shelf or need to be given to the customer. $100 will cover your tax and it'll cover your shipping, or well, yeah. So anyway, it will cover your shipping and it will cover your any like little Section 2 products, courses, program stuff that. So now this account is going to be near empty by the time you place your order. Okay. The next thing that I do is I transfer commissions. Well, and this one's a little tricky. They used to write us a paycheck and now that's a little different. They actually deposit it. I think it's into like a pro pay card now for new consultants. But what I will say is that like as a sales director, it's like an auto deposit. So any commissions that you make from being a consultant, I add those into here. Okay, I dump them in here. They don't get split. The whole amount goes into here. So let's say I have a $100 commission check. Okay, I'm going to add it in there because that is profit. Okay, and the final and fifth step is that I'm going to write a physical paycheck. That means I'm going to use a checkbook that goes to this account, the green account, the checkbook. I'm going to write a check to myself. And here's the thing, okay? So I write a check from this account to my family account. So what's fun is that when I cash my paycheck every 2 weeks, it says from Grace Lemke's green account, and I write it to Mark and Grace Lemke, and we deposit it into our family account. And what this does, the way that I have it set up like this, is that it creates a very clean, distinct money trail. It's very easily seen. So like if there would ever be a question as to how I pay myself, it's very clear. I write all of my deposits into our family account in purple. So if you look at my family checkbook right now, you'll see purple deposit, purple deposit. So there's really no, when I think about working my business, there's no guilt or question about it. Now here's the only thing. There's $500 in that account, and I'm going to write myself a paycheck. So can I write myself the full $500 paycheck? Well, the question is your business profit level? Profit level means that all of your initial investments with your business have been paid. So if you came into the company and decided to start with some product, a very wise decision, you have that. It might be on a credit card, it might be in a loan. You've got that initial investment over here, right? And if you didn't start with product on the shelf, then we want to start building you a product shelf. So let's say you came in as a Ruby Star consultant and you've got a $2,900 investment there, okay? It's over here on a card, it's in a, you know, you're paying it back to yourself, you have a loan, however you chose to do it. You have two options. You can, if you don't need the money, just chuck the entire amount at this loan and pay it off as fast as possible. With a little elbow grease, I paid my initial investment off and I had to buy a computer because when I joined Mary Kay, I didn't have a computer and I didn't know what email was. Don't judge me. But the truth is I needed both of those things. And so I actually bought a computer and did my inventory. And I'll tell you that within 4 months, I was profit level. And that was great. Okay. So I had paid off all my initial investment and I was completely clear. But that was, I mean, I put in some effort for that. Now, let's say you do need the money. Your family needs the money. Okay. I'm going to suggest that you take half of the money. So $250 is going to get chucked towards your initial investment so that we're paying that down. And half of it goes to your family account. And what happens is now you've got a full shelf of product that's completely paid for. And once you've paid this off, that entire amount is now yours. And so I remember as a new consultant after that 4th month, I kept right on selling product and seeing faces and showing people the product. And I remember getting to write myself my first full paycheck. And I remember being like, holy buckets, I added on that first month, I added an average of $350 a week extra to our income. That was $1,400 a month. And I don't know about you, but $1,400 a month for about 8 hours of work a week. That made a big difference for us. And what I know is that I was able to make big things happen for our family because of that. So this is how I do money. I'm sure you're going to have some questions about it. And so I invite you to write those down and then ask me when we talk at our next when we talk after this, okay? So the final thing that I do want to talk to you a little bit about is that this business is a cash cow. And I think that there are 2 C's of this cash cow concept. And that is, I loved Mary Kay because, again, I grew up without a lot. And so I love the fact that I'm never stuck for money. That's a big piece of my piece is knowing that I can create money with this so that we always will have what we need. And so one of the things that I've loved about this, though, is consistency. A lot of people are like, Grayson, you work a ton to make that. No, I didn't. It's not about breaking your neck. It's about putting in honest efforts consistently and over time. And so I want to just show you quickly what can happen when you see faces. And so just a second here. Oh, there it is. My papers got mixed up. Okay, so and I do want you to understand, I get excited because I believe in security and financial independence. It's not because it's not about stuff, okay? I mean, I like having a nice home and I like having safe vehicles and savings accounts and college. That's important to me, but that's not it. It's the security. And so, and I also just know that when life gets hard, it is harder when you don't have financial stability because then you have fewer choices. And that's not what I want for people. So I do just want to show you the average party in Mary Kay. Our unit is closer, it's over $400 a party average, but the average party in the company is $350 in sales. So if you take a $350 party, the 40% on that equals $140 profit. So $140 profit per party. And so I want to show you what happens when you do one party a week, which is $140 times 4 weeks in a month equals $560 extra a month. Okay, so that was one party a week at $140 a week. That's $560 extra a month. What would you do with an extra $560? What could that do for you guys? 2 parties a week at $140. So that would be $280 a week times 4 weeks. That would give you $1,120. That would give you $1,120 extra a month. What could your family do with $1,120? What would $1,120 a month buy you, purchase you, pay off for you? What would that do? 3 parties a week. And here's what I also want you to understand. A party takes 2 to 3 hours. So if you were willing to find 2 to 3 hours a week, you could make $560 extra. For 6 hours a week, $1,120 a month. And for 3 parties a week, that'd be $420 profit over 4 weeks. That'd be $1,680 a month for about 12 to 15 hours a week. So my question for you is, and this is all straight new business, new seeing clients, not any reorders, no commission check from a team member. So I guess what I'm asking you is, that's 12 to 15 hours. That's a part-time job. I don't know a lot of part-time jobs where you can be moral and legal and make an extra $1,600 a month. I just don't know where you can do that. And so I get excited. But what gets me more excited, okay, that's the consistency piece. Let me tell you about the compound effect, which is what's happened in my business. It's about being consistent over long periods of time. Because I want to tell you what happens when you do 1 party a week, 50 weeks a year. Okay, 1 party a week, 50 weeks a year, with a very, very minimal reorder business. Like I lowballed all of this. So if you took 2 to 3 hours a week, 2 to 3 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year, not every week, okay, but 50 weeks out of the year, and you did that for 5 years, do you know that you would add $52,000 over 5 years to your family? 50 grand you could add to your budget because you gave 2 to 3 hours a week. And if you ask most people if they would come into work for another job 2 to 3 hours a week so that over 5 years they could add an extra $52,000 to their income, most of them would. So the only difference is you're doing it for yourself. 2 parties a week with very minimal reorders would average, and these are approximations. This is what I've experienced. So I don't want to quote any Mary Kay official numbers, but I mean, these are minimum numbers. 2 parties a week over 5 years, 50 weeks out of the year, adds $105,000. 105 grand. Like, that changes a family's whole future. That pays off houses. I mean, that's crazy. And 3 parties a week over 5 years with minimal reorders would be somewhere in the ballpark of $157,000 for a part-time job. So I just want you to understand this because at the end of the day, this business can be a hobby. This business can be a supplement to your income. Or this business, you can become president and CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation. And it's completely in how you see it and choose to take action on it. And so my prayer is that you've got some great questions and some awesome takeaways, and that I'm going to hear from you soon with those so that we can talk through this. And you know what, above everything else, I believe in you. So congratulations on finishing your second to last video.